Is guacamole a fruit salad?
What is the best milkshake for bringing boys to the yard?
Ostriches are dinosaurs.
Don't piss off old people. New game.
What do you mean it gives you Arby's mouth?
Artisanal muck duck balls.
I think they call that autofellatio.
I want to high five a shark.
Welcome to Bar Banter. Relax, have a drink with us as we debate the most controversial topics in the world today.
On today's
I
podcast,
gotta pee. Hold on.
we talk about what is the best Super Bowl party food, which current NBA player would be the most successful in the NFL, and lastly, we name the Mount Rushmore of NFL running backs. But first, we have a guest. Dylan Fitzgerald, host of the Boys Down Bad podcast. Welcome to the show. What are you drinking, man?
Thanks, guys, for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm going through a little bit of a health kick right now, so I'm just drinking water, but I'll be drinking with you guys in spirit.
In spirits. I see that. Tell us about the show.
Yeah, the Boys Down Bad podcast, we started about 2 years ago. Basically started just talking about the NFL playoffs. That's kind of when we started it. We were bored coming home from work. We're like, what should we do in our free time that we can be productive, do something fun? We're trying to think, what do we do throughout the day? Well, we listen to podcasts while we work our regular jobs. And so we're like, hey, let's start one. Know a lot about sports. We're from Lincoln, Nebraska. So big Husker fans. We're a Husker pod for sure. We have a lot of recruits on, Nebraska football recruits, a lot of athletes that have gone through Nebraska, current players and previous. We've interviewed them. So that was a cool avenue that we got to go down. And then we're also big in the sports betting. So you might see us on TikTok now and again on your For You page, throwing out some probably terrible picks as we look back on it. But yeah, we're just having fun with it, man. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, the Super Bowl is about a week and a half away. Who do you got? Chiefs or Niners?
If you don't bet on the Chiefs, you're an absolute idiot, because we got Patrick Mahomes. You're not only betting on Patrick Mahomes, you're betting on Patrick Mahomes and the refs, because the refs, he's earned that right where he's going to be getting those calls and in the clutch situation. So, I hate betting against teams, but I also hate betting against teams and the refs. So you got to go Chiefs, man.
That's a fair take. I appreciate that take. It's a absolutely valid take. Benjamin Trimmer, what are you drinking?
I'm doing a little NFL margarita tonight. Excited
What does
to
that
talk
mean?
margarita and NFL cup, man. That's it. I got nothing else. But Dylan, no, glad you're on. Excited to talk sports with you tonight. Glad you're here, man. Drew, what are you drinking?
I'm sticking with my classic little tequila and ginger beer. I'm excited to have you on, Dylan, as well, so you can talk sports for me. Travis, what are you drinking?
I'm back on the Whistlepick Summer Stock Pit Viper
Nice.
because, like most nights, it's the first thing that was on my shelf, and I grabbed it. It had the word whistle in it, which reminded me of sports. So that's what I went with. I did mention earlier that the Super Bowl, as at the time of this recording, is coming up in a week and a half. None of us are going to the Super Bowl. None of us are playing it. So we have to watch it. So I want to know, what's the best Super Bowl party food? Was that a pretty good actual segue?
That was a great segue. Am I going?
Sorry.
It doesn't matter who goes first. It's just whoever has
Usually-
thoughts. Drew's just flabbergasted because I
Terrible.
usually have some bad pun, and that time I actually kind of grabbed.
I don't
He's
know how
just,
to feel. I don't know how
yeah.
to feel.
That was a pretty solid transition.
I feel like
Yeah.
I need to take a lap.
That's a rarity.
I'm
Dylan. It doesn't
suspicious
usually
now
happen.
about everything else.
Drew's got to
that's
go
going
pee. Hold on.
on. I'm leaving.
He wrote it out like an hour ago, Drew.
No. But Dylan, if you want to start us off, what's the best Super Bowl party food? If you got thoughts, take it away.
Yeah, I got a real specific one that
Mhm.
I love every time someone brings it to a party. I don't know if you guys have had it before, but we got the Little Smokies wrapped in bacon, okay?
Okay.
You bake it in the oven, but you also put some brown sugar and cinnamon on top.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys have ever had that, but it'll change your life if you haven't. And my buddy makes them. He's incredible at it. He always brings it to any game parties or Super Bowl parties that we have. So I'm already looking forward to eating some for the Super Bowl.
So
Nice.
I want to talk about this is one of the things we struggle with on this podcast, and I think a lot of people do, is the word best. There's not a whole lot of guardrails around the word best. It's really subjective, but we all argue and try to make it objective, and that's kind of the fun of it. So it sounds wonderful. It sounds delicious. Is it absolutely the best, though? Is it like something that you can have at every Super Bowl party? Can you have a bunch of them? Is it something, I know you said you were looking forward to it, but is it like, in the grand scheme of things, is it the best?
A great question. I think I look at it as the best in my eyes because it's something I don't get to have very often. So I'm always looking forward, the typical, wings, chips, pizza. I mean that stuff all the time. I'm not looking forward to a specific day for a specific Super Bowl food as far as pizza, chips, and all that. So because I'm looking forward to that specific food item, that's why it's the best for me, if that makes sense.
Okay.
That's actually a really solid argument for
it can't be a bad
sounds
choice
good.
because it sounds, I can't say I've had bacon wrapped smoky. I think everyone has, but to
I've
caramelize
actually
it,
had this dish with like the caramelized brown sugar on top before.
you have or you haven't?
I didn't. I have. Yeah. I don't think
Okay.
I don't know where. I don't think it was a Super Bowl party. I think it was somewhere else. But yeah, solid choice. I
Mhm.
hadn't thought about those in years, and now I really want to make some.
I'm gonna make them tonight. Drew, best Super Bowl party food dish.
I'm gonna
thing.
I'm gonna deviate a little bit just because I feel like we all kind of know where everyone else's head's at
On
least
my
on the
neck.
podcast.
Always on bacon.
Always on bacon. My go-to that I always want to see at any sort of sporting event party, especially the Super Bowl, is the buffalo chicken. It's versatile. You can use so many things to dip with it, whether it be chips, vegetables. You can even use a wing if you would like to.
Done it.
Pro move.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
We've dipped sliders in them before. I mean,
Yeah. So many different things that you can use it for as either a topping or a condiment, even if you will. It's one of my absolute favorite things in the entire world is that combination of the salty, the vinegar, the hot, the savory, and it's just one of my favorite things.
Dylan, were you gonna add something?
I should have prefaced this before I said my food. I am lactose intolerant. So my views
you gotta
on
leave.
a lot of-
You gotta leave.
For
Sorry.
you. Ouch.
Yeah, I'll get out. I
Next
get it.
guest. Next
Yeah.
guest.
Fine. I've heard all the jokes. I've heard it all. I get it. But so my viewpoint is going to be skewed a little bit from you guys.
That's fair.
Makes sense.
That's reasonable. Drew, quick question for you. You mentioned a lot of things to dip into the cheese dip.
Mhm.
What's the go-to, what's the staple if you're bringing the chicken, if you're bringing the buffalo chicken dip, what are you intentionally bringing to dip into the dip?
Tostito scoop.
Scoops? Okay. Not club crackers?
No.
Okay.
I love me some. Don't get me wrong. Love me
Took
some
me down a peg. I was almost there. We
club
were almost
crackers,
there.
but you can just use them with so many other things. Those are very specific.
I know. Ben.
I like the versatility.
Ben.
All right, both solid answers. Actually,
Drew's was like liquid, but that's fine.
It's a mix.
Amorphous solid. It's fine.
Dylan, I really liked yours because I actually originally had written bacon wrapped and then insert item here. That was going to be my pick.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna let you hold on to the bacon option, and I'm gonna go with my original first choice. And for me, I like it because it can change every time you go back to that item. But for me, best Super Bowl is a build your own burger slider bar. I mean, you can go back, you can change sauces, you can change cheeses, depending on what's available. I mean, if I like to cook sliders, so when I do it, I kind of go all out and have a bunch of stuff out. But hopefully at a Super Bowl party, that would be the same. But yeah, man, different slider every time.
Is it the burger itself, or is it the process of making it that you enjoy?
Man, that's a good question. It's probably more the burger itself, though. I am definitely a foodie, but not in a foodie like pretentious way. A foodie like I can appreciate
I
everything
like
they
to
eat.
put food in my mouth hole.
Egg
like
poison.
to eat.
Yeah. Ben, I have
Yes.
I don't know why I have a problem with that one. I don't have a concrete answer in my head as to why that one bothers me.
So what do you have?
I mean, everyone knows I'm just gonna go wings. Like that's the ultimate food almost outside of the Super Bowl party. So it's just another excuse to eat more wings. Yeah, is it like the obvious cliche answer? Sure, but that's because it's the best and you can have different flavors. I don't really fuck with lemon pepper, but like I know a lot of people love that. So I'll get lemon pepper for people and I'll eat it if it's there. But like it's just unless you get overcooked wings, it's usually the best thing at any party, including Super Bowl parties.
All right. So while I love wings, all flavors, all levels of hotness,
You're hot.
the reason why I'm going to argue wings for the best Super Bowl party is while maybe 60-70% of the party's really excited, every time you have wings at a big party, there's generally a decent amount of people that don't want wings, whether it's too messy, whether they don't trust the sauce. But I'm looking at the slider bar, the dip, and the bacon wrap weenie, and I feel like all those items pretty much everybody would go to. Maybe not as much the dip, but still one of those staples. I feel like people avoid wings more often at the party.
I think the sauce is the big issue.
Mm.
A lot of people don't want.
Do you think it's the type of sauce or it's just the sauce on the fingers?
I think it's the inconvenience of the sauce on the fingers at these big parties.
Like in personal experience, if I'm at a party where I don't want to have messy or stinky fingers, I'm not going to eat the wings. I mean, I love wings and I've done that before.
You haven't perfected the one-hand wing technique?
It's just not, I don't want that to be a hassle. I don't want to walk around and smell wings on my fingers all night. So
It's like that Taco Bell
even just one
commercial
hand.
where like they put Taco Bell in the women's purses and it attracted all the men. I think you could do that
Wow.
just as a female. You just
Wing-
put wing sauce
wings
on your
on my
fingers. It's
What a
fine.
pull. What
I'm
a
just
I like
saying,
it.
like there's pluses to it. You can make it happen. You can't do that with a burger. I'm just saying. That's what I'm going for. All right, so we got to kind of recap. We got wings. We got I'm gonna call it caramelized bacon wrap little smokies, buffalo chicken dip, and the build your own burger slider bar. Of those four, what's the best Super Bowl party food? So I'm looking at sliders and I'm like, it's a really good food. Seems like a lot of work. Seems like it takes up a lot of counter space.
Yeah, but it's something different every time. So, I
Is
mean,
it though? Because they're burgers. Like it's burgers. It's meat, cheese, bun, condiment.
We could say the exact same thing about wings.
I'm not. Yeah, but
I love both.
I'm not disagreeing with
Just
you,
saying.
Drew. I'm not disagreeing with you that you can say that about wings, but I'm not making that argument. Ben is. Ben is saying that it's different every time.
I would
disagreeing
posit
that
the argument that sliders are more different every time because you get to pick and choose
right
from a myriad of different toppings.
If they're not that
and
different.
sauces.
Speaking personally, I mean, and guys, we just had sliders a few weeks ago at the cabin, and I had 3 of them. Each one was completely different. Like I did that on purpose.
Sliders?
Yeah.
Why don't I remember that?
Saturday night. You were there.
I mean, I know I was there.
I cooked you sliders and you don't remember?
The entire table in the kitchen was full of slider things.
Exactly. And I had 3 different ones. They were all completely different. It was great.
I'm not making this as a bit. I genuinely don't remember. Maybe it was because my wife was dealing with,
an illness. Yeah, maybe.
Or something to that effect. But I genuinely don't remember.
You weren't even that drunk.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
That was the night before.
I got a question on the wing side.
Yo.
How many, say you have a big Super Bowl party coming over. 1, how many wings are you ordering? 2, how many different sauces are you ordering?
That's a great question. I do understand that not everyone appreciate wings in the way that I do. So I'm not ordering like 10 wings for every single person because that would be insane. It does obviously depend on how many people are going to be there, but just to throw out a number, a nice size Super Bowl party, so like 10 to 12 people, I'm shooting for roughly 80 wings, give or take, and I'm gonna have 4 or 5 different sauce options.
Are you varying in bone in, bone out?
No, because bone out is just chicken fingers. That's
They're
just
just nuggets.
that's just chicken nuggets. That's not.
Are,
That's
are
not.
you one of those guys that really just shames people who eat boneless wings?
Absolutely, 100%.
No. I shame you if you call it boneless wings, but if you're like if it's on the menu as boneless wings and you order it, but if you admit that yeah, I'm having chicken nuggets, that's fine. I'm here for it. I love chicken nuggets. But if you're like gonna sit there and tell me no, these are boneless wings, I'm like, you're an idiot.
I mean,
So
they're boneless wings. There's no bones in them.
yeah, but there's no wing meat in them.
Sure there is.
No.
It's all the same.
No. It's from the chicken breast chopped up into small pieces as chicken nuggets. They just branded it as boneless wings. There's no wing meat in those boneless wings,
I don't
air
think
quotes.
any of the wing around the arm or whatever is
I
in the
mean, I'm sure a stray piece of wing meat has entered into a boneless wing at some point,
boneless wings.
but I would say it's not enough to categorize it as a wing or
It
wing
would
meat.
be
I've had this
It would-
debate about a million times in my life, so I get it.
it would be fiscally irresponsible of a restaurant to
Right.
use just wing meat.
Let me
the
crack
amount
the
of
straw
time
Depends on
and
the
prep
restaurant. 5-star
involved in that.
restaurants.
Holy fuck! If I went to that place,
That's a
and was
good
like,
point, Ben.
You guys really
Yeah.
deboned wings to
If I can
this?
charge, $5 a wing because I had to debone it and then deep fry that, then I would call that boneless wings. But the ones that are B-dubs are not boneless wings. Those
No.
are just chicken nuggets. But again, if they're on the menu, they're called boneless wings. So if you say, "Hey, can I get, 10 boneless wings?" And then I look at you and I'm like this, and like I know it's chicken nuggets, dude. That's fine. I'm not gonna shame you. Eat what you want.
Travis, I can't get behind wings.
You got to get in front of it.
And
You got to get in front of it and just take it
I've
on.
really thought about
You
it,
don't need
but
to get
wings
behind
are
it.
like maybe a weekly occurrence for me. I love wings so much. They're a great food. You can get them so many ways, so many places. I just don't respect them as a Super Bowl specific party food anymore.
I wish I could eat wings.
They're
once a week.
too good to limit to once a year like that and expect them to just be the centerpiece of everything.
Good
Fine.
point.
I see how you guys feel. That's fine.
Whereas
you're all
buffalo chicken
wrong.
dip,
You're all wrong, but it's fine.
I'm not having that often, maybe like 3-4 times a year, and it better be the absolute dopest if it's going to be presented to me at a Super Bowl party.
That's fine. So wings are gone. That's fine. That's fine. I get it. I don't like any of you, but it's fine. Before I vote on which one I would pick outside of wings, do we want to try to eliminate one of the other three? Is anyone willing to maybe even leave their camp for one of the other three?
I don't want to leave my camp, but I would because I had two things on my list, sliders and bacon wrapped insert item here. So I would leave my camp for Dylan's. If I could add in the caveat that while Dylan's item is the best, anything bacon wrapped is the best.
Fair.
Dylan, the only reason why I can't go yours is just because I've never had it. So for me, it can't be the best.
It
It sounds wonderful.
It
but
might change your life.
It might. And if we do this again next year and I've had it at that point, because I'll try to make it, and maybe my opinion has changed, but I currently don't have one. So I can't, of the three, I can't name that the best because I've never had it. So
That's
for
fair.
that reason, I can't vote for yours. Between buffalo chicken dip and burger sliders, I gotta go buffalo chicken dip. It is just something I look forward to at every Super Bowl party because it's always at every Super Bowl party. It's not at every party, but it's at every Super Bowl party. And I will just hover around that dip. I won't put it on a plate. I'll just hover around the crock pot that it's in and grab whatever food I can and just dip it in there. And then I'll like, oh, maybe I should stop eating. I'll go walk around and talk to people and then I'll come back and hover again. So I gotta go buffalo chicken dip.
Is there since I don't have much experience in the buffalo chicken dip game because I can't have it, have you ever had a bad buffalo chicken dip?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
That's another argument, maybe
I can't say that I have.
there, but it's not gonna be because everyone has their own recipe.
Right.
So it
I
could
don't
be-
know. And again, I haven't had a bad one. It seems really difficult to mess up unless you just straight up like burn it. And at that point, it's like not edible, and that's an accident, and you just throw it out. No one's gonna serve that, but like a servable buffalo chicken dip, I haven't had a bad one.
Fair.
It's
like
chicken.
burgers, you make it yourself, like to build your own burgers, so you can make it the way that you like.
Yeah, but they're not making the patties themselves. Someone's grilling the patties for them. I'm not a huge fan of smash burgers and thin burgers. I like a thick, medium burger personally. I'll eat them, if there's, I probably did that time at the cabin that I don't remember. But if I had it, if it's available, I'm gonna put buffalo chicken dip on my burger.
As you should.
Yeah. Or dunk it in, to make it even better. Because
That's fair.
buffalo chicken dip makes everything better.
So, Drew Travis, if we changed the item to not bacon wrapped Smokies, but bacon wrapped items and kind of kept it like that, would either of you jump ship? Like, I want to go to the Super Bowl party and get my bacon wrapped whatever.
I don't think so, because as much as I love bacon wrapped things, there are some that are up here for me, and there are some that are down here for me. So and some that are just like, did that really add anything to it? Like a bacon wrap fillet. Not that we're having that at a Super Bowl party, but there are just in general some things that are wrapped in bacon that I'm just like, you could just give me a side of bacon and I would have been much happier with it.
And I think that's kind of where I'm at too, is like the fact that you have to have something else with bacon means that
you don't. But it's a little weird to show up with a plate of bacon.
But we could start
that. Honestly, if somebody showed up with a plate of bacon at a Super Bowl party,
everyone would love that.
Instant winner.
If you had said just bacon, I might leave for just bacon. We've had a lot of bacon recently on the podcast, but
we have
fucking legend.
It is a wonderful, wonderful food.
I might be bringing just bacon to the Super Bowl party this year.
I might.
You should try it at least.
Honestly,
I'm in.
Do bacon and make it different. Like you can do brown sugar bacon. You can do bacon marinated in a bunch of different stuff and then cook it. And
different varieties of bacon.
Black pepper bacon.
Ooh,
you can do
a bacon tasting.
We used to do a maple syrup bacon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
So if you had just said bacon, maybe, but bacon wrapped something, it's like, oh, it depends on the something, because
it just doesn't have to be.
Right. So I'm still, and you could put bacon in buffalo chicken dip.
You could put bacon on a burger.
Yeah. You could wrap a wing in bacon. I'm gonna go do that right now.
I'd rather do a boneless wing wrap.
No, you wouldn't. Nuggets, Ben. All right. So I think for that, we're gonna go buffalo chicken dip. I know, Dylan, you're not gonna say that because you can't, but for everyone else, I think you understand the premise behind it, so you're cool with it, is what I'm getting the vibe from. Yep. Okay.
Boo.
I'm gonna find Dylan a non-dairy buffalo chicken dip that
a buffalo chicken dip that's non-dairy. I would love that, actually, because I love buffalo.
I bet you anything I could find one, and it probably uses like cauliflower as the binder.
Dylan, random question, real quick. Sorry, who's your favorite Marvel character?
Oof, probably Iron Man.
Because mine's Ant-Man, and Ant-Man recently said that he wants to be the first two-way player between basketball and the NFL, and that.
Okay, there's
I should have warned you. I should have warned you. You're walking into that one.
The first one was better.
No, that second one was
so
quality gold. Quality gold. Anthony Edwards recently stated that he wants to be the first two-way player between NBA and NFL, and it got me thinking, who is the current NBA player? Let's put that on there. Current NBA player that would have the most success in the NFL. And I try to watch the NBA. I know enough about the NBA to where I know the names. I know where they're at in life and how good they are. I don't know everyone, but so we probably miss some of the people when we get to talk about this. But, obviously there are the huge stars, the huge people out there like LeBron, who He's like 6'9", 250, and runs like 8,000 miles an hour. But he's also 39. I don't think in his current state, maybe at peak LeBron, if we want to talk about that, he could be a really good NFL player. But like most NFL players, especially skill positions, because I think NBA players would play skill positions, offense and defense, are between like 6'1" and 6'7". They don't get up to 6'9" and 6'11", like a lot of NBA players that I realized are. And so I think LeBron would be a really good one, but I don't know if he would have the most success. And I want to know which NBA player would have the most success in the NFL. Who has thoughts?
I'm gonna go ahead and jump out there.
Do it for me.
I don't know a ton about basketball, but if I'm just looking physical attributes, Kawhi Leonard,
Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi, whatever, his hands are ginormous. Like
That big. They're this big.
saw a picture with him next to Shaq and putting his hands up to his, and they're just ridiculous. So I think for a receiver, he would just be able to palm the ball out of the air no matter where it is in space.
And he
And you
does
can't see my hand
have
movements.
he does have like the prototypical size for it, maybe a little bit on the higher side.
Yeah, I think almost
Might be a little
too
too tall. Yeah,
Almost too tall.
Maybe he
That's my one
does.
thing about NBA players is I feel like their center of gravity is just so
Right.
high that it would be hard for almost any of them,
I think
especially on defense. But on offense, I think that receiver for a lot of them would be a good place to start.
I mean, that's a really good pick. I didn't want to go Kawhi because he is like 6'7", 6'8", something like that. And I know he's fast. All of these guys are pretty fast, but are they, 4.40 fast, 4.340?
It's a different kind of fast. It's
I
just
know.
a completely different skill set, I feel like.
Right,
between-
but you need to have that skill set to be successful at wide receiver. You need to have, a lower center of gravity. You need to have fast twitch muscles to get away from press coverage. You need to be able to run routes effectively. And I don't see Kawhi. He's probably got great straight line speed once he gets there. Maybe not great acceleration, but his top speed's probably super fast. And he's got the body to just, sky anyone or moss anyone, if that's still a thing. I don't know. I haven't watched ESPN in years because it sucks now. But I do like Kawhi. Of the people who are slightly taller, he was one I definitely considered.
I'll jump out there. And so, Drew, you went receiver as far as kind of your comparison of what would translate. I went kind of a different position, and I went tight end mainly because of, you don't have to be the fastest, but you really have to be just athletic across the board. And so I'm looking at Luka Doncic as the most ready to jump into the NFL, jump in as a tight end. He can block. He's got all the physical attributes to play that position. He's 6'7", 6'8", whatever he is, but he's a bigger guy. He's probably, I don't know, 230, 240. So for me, it would be Luka Doncic.
I like that.
I don't see Luka as
How's his speed? I feel like
that's why I picked tight end. Like tight end doesn't
end.
have the fastest, especially if they can get, after the catch. Plus, tight ends need to be able to block. I mean, a bigger NBA player, I mean, blocking is what they do. I mean, he could jump into that role
and
right out of the way.
I think that's the issue I have is he is a bigger NBA player. He has the speed of a tight end. He has the size and maybe the physical attributes of a tight end, but he doesn't have that like toughness of a tight end. I don't see Luka trying to go over the middle and trying to snag a ball out of the air because he might be too afraid. And this is again completely subjective. He's great at shooting basketballs. I love him. He's great to watch. But like if I were to put him as a tight end and put him against someone in the 7 technique, he's gonna get murdered. He's gonna be I don't know what to do with my hands. And so I don't see him having a lot of. Maybe he's more of just a finesse guy than a tight end, get in the hole, get down and dirty when you need him to kind of player. So I don't think he'd be a good tight end. He's too big to play any other position.
Yeah, I mean, you think of the best tight ends in the league. Who are they? Kelsey, we got Kittle, Hawkinson, Laporta. They're guys who they have the same kind of build, but they also are able to make plays on the ball. I don't see Luca making great plays on the ball just because, like you said, I don't know. He's definitely tough in basketball, but is a different kind of toughness.
He's gonna be Euro stepping, and that someone's gonna clock him once, and he'll be like, "I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore."
Right, exactly. I don't know. It's a good thought. I don't know if I agree with it.
I will say I think he's young enough to where he could maybe transition.
I'm not saying he wouldn't be, or I'm not saying he would be awful at it, right? I was exaggerating about getting hit once, obviously, because it's one contact. Could he develop into a pretty good tight end? Sure. I just don't think he would develop into I don't think he would have the most success out of anyone.
Also, if your argument is he's going to be good at blocking, I feel like the NFL is transitioning to more of a league where tight ends aren't really blocking as much as you think they are.
They're not, but the whole idea behind him was that he's so overall athletic. I mean, he's one of the best athletes in the NBA. So I wanted to find that position where he could kind of transition from a pass catcher, running short routes, running deep routes, being a blocker. He can kind of do it all. So that was my thought process. No, but you're right. I mean, blocking is definitely more of a college tight end game, and then it lessens once you get into the NFL, no doubt.
So I want to put forward Donovan Mitchell as a running back. The guy is 6'1", 215. He's a little older for a running back. He's 28.
He's done.
I know. This would probably be his last year. But he is insanely fast, and he is insanely athletic. He can make all of the cuts. He's got the size and the build to take the hits if he needs to go up the middle, and he has the speed to balance it outside if he needs to. And he does have the weight and the size to block an incoming pass rush on the outside. Like, he has the build that I'm looking for in a running back. He might need to work on his squats a little bit, but he could, that's an easy thing for him to do. But he's already got it, and I just with the size and the speed, it just fits so perfectly when I was looking at all the measurements. And he's just so damn good. Give me Donovan Mitchell at running back.
I don't have a very good argument against that one. That's pretty solid.
Except he's almost 28 years old. I mean, that's the 5-year mark for running backs, and it's unfortunate, but they take that beating, and it's probably less than 5% of running backs that are viable after that 28th year. I mean, once you hit 30, it's probably 1%. So it's, I think he's probably past that peak. You need to get somebody that can jump in, just a couple of years of professional sports. They're not too banged up so that they can transition. 25 or less would be the age for me.
You're not wrong about that. Go ahead, Dylan.
If they're going to jump in right now, if that's the question in the argument,
it could be.
They haven't had that wear and tear of college and early.
I was going to say that.
So if they're going to jump in right now, his knees are fine, his ankle, everything's going to be fresh for him. He is 28. He has been playing basketball his whole life. So, that takes a toll on your knees for sure, but I don't know.
I would almost think a different position than running back.
He could play wide receiver. I'm just thinking of your prototypical running back,
defensive back almost.
He's a little
keep up with the best of them because of his speed. I know a lot of defensive backs, once they hit 6'1", 6'2", they transition, but there's still a few of them out there that are 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah, I think he could play. I had him pegged as a running back just because I liked the versatility and the athleticism. But to that point, he could play probably. I don't know how good he is at catching, so I don't know if he could be wide receiver. But yeah, defensive back, running back, I think either of those could fit.
I agree.
Good pick though. Great pick. Yeah.
when I saw this question the first time, my head immediately went to like slot wide receiver. So
Mhm.
someone who's quick, can make a quick move and get upfield fast, can catch the ball. Someone who's explosive. So my pick was going to be John Morant because I think he's
Okay.
got the size for a slot wide receiver. You see the dunks that he makes. He's explosive. He can jump like no other. I think he'd be a really good wide receiver and a slot guy who he can run those slants up the middle. He's a little bit smaller on the smaller side, but there's a lot of smaller slot wideouts. So a guy who can, catch the ball over the middle, make a move, and get upfield fast. He can catch screens, wide receiver screens. I think he's just going to have an extremely explosive first couple steps, which is going to be big for any wide receiver, but especially slot guys.
I hadn't considered him for slot. When I think of wide receiver, I think of your ex receiver, so the guy that's playing on the outside. But I looked at Ja and I was like, yeah, he's too little. Like he's 6'2", but he's little. But when you said slot, I was like, well, hold on. That actually makes a lot of sense. And that does fit if he can stay on the field and not get suspended for guns.
That is very true. He's going to have to stay off Instagram Live.
Yeah, for sure. If he's on the Steelers, he'll surely be on Instagram Live in a heartbeat.
Put him in like one of the Midwest teams or the California, somewhere where he can't easily access that.
And real quick, I'll be remiss if I didn't just, looking at Anthony Edwards' stats, if you will, would be a fantastic wide receiver. He could do it.
I mean,
Assuming
I had
he
him,
can
but I
catch.
didn't want to pick him for this because
Yeah.
I felt like he was kind of an obvious answer. So
He's 23, 6'4", 225. Like, that is it in pretty crazy speed. Like, he could do it.
And crazy ups. Like, dude is
Yeah.
talented.
I'm going to put him in there just because we talked about him.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so our list right now is Anthony Edwards, Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic, Kawhi Leonard, and Ja Morant. So we got 5. We're going to try to narrow this down to 1. And again, it could be at the position we talked about. It could be any position, just the most success in general. I agree. Donovan Mitchell being 28 doesn't have a long time to have that success. So I understand that. But I do think he's still...
I like him a lot more without the running back spot.
Okay.
A much more solid pick changing the spot.
So
I like him at safety.
Yeah.
Safety? Okay. Yeah, I mean, at 215, he's going to be a thumper.
Could we create a position where these guys' entire job is just to block punts or point afters because they're so tall?
You want Giannis?
Oh, that's interesting.
I mean, literally, you hire them just to jump and try and block the kick.
I wonder what NBA player has the highest ups as far as jump and height.
But I mean, even anybody above 6'5", you're looking at almost a 7-foot wingspan.
And you'll probably be one of the tallest people on that team. Most in, like, yeah, there are 6'7", 6'8", like linemen, but they can't jump. So you get a 6'7", 6'8",
and they're
NBA
all like
player.
300 pounds.
Right. That's why they can't. Yeah.
Wembanyama.
Yeah, Wemby. He could do it. He's 7'2", 7'3". However, the punt or the field goal might shatter him. I'm not sure. It just might break him entirely. I don't know.
The hand just goes limp.
How tall is Aiden Hutchinson? What is that, like 6'9"?
He's not that tall.
At least 6'7", but I think he's like 6'8", 6'9".
The defensive lineman?
Lions, yeah.
I gotta look this up.
6'7", okay.
Kawhi, I think if we're saying prime Kawhi, so like 5 years ago, that would have been my answer.
Oh,
but
yeah,
at
he's way
32,
too old.
I'm gonna nix him from the.
But
the group.
again, if we're thinking prime and they don't have the wear and tear that these players have had, obviously, like basketball has its own wear and tear, but not the same as the NBA or as the NFL.
Well, I'm only saying for Donovan Mitchell, I'm saying he is currently in prime at 28. Kawhi, and he only has this, like maybe 2 years to 3 years to have the most success. Kawhi at 32 or whatever, 34 or whatever he is, doesn't have like any time. He's going to retire in a year. So
Could be a good year though.
Could be a real good year, but is that the most success?
How do you
Yeah,
define success? Is it getting your team to the Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl?
I'm gonna say individual accolades for your position in a long-term scenario. That's my definition for success for this argument. It doesn't have to be. Because if I was gonna like if we would take prime Shaq, you just give him the ball and you just let him run. He's gonna get you the Super Bowl every time. It's gonna be fine.
7 dudes hanging off him.
He's a gorilla. All right. Can we all agree we're taking Kawhi off?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I'll jump off of Luca. I think he's still a good pick, but honestly, Dylan Travis, I really like both your picks. So I'm kind of stuck. And you guys want to sell me on him?
The only reason I can't get behind Ja is he's little. He's crazy though. Like he
You were just arguing a second ago that they're too big, most of them. So he kind of fits your argument.
Well, man, he's little in terms of weight. He's like a rail. He's only like 170 pounds.
Sounds like a cornerback.
I mean, how heavy is
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill?
Or a safety. No.
But that was the other argument. Is like, is he a Tyreek Hill? I don't know. But if
Probably
you put him at DB, he doesn't have to catch. So
I equate him a lot to like I'm a Cowboys guy, and so I see like a lot of Brandon Cooks in him. Just like
Okay,
a little guy,
interesting.
but just somehow like he's good. I honestly don't know why he's good, but he's very good, and he's been good for a lot of teams. And he had a solid year this year with the Cowboys.
mhm.
That was kind of my comparison with him.
Yeah, I'm equating the size a little bit more to a lot of positions and that quick step athleticism. I mean, I get Jaws a solid pick. So yeah, I'm still stuck.
So here's where I'm stuck. Right, we've got Donovan's age versus Ja's weight, basically. Like, could Ja be an incredible slot receiver? Yes, absolutely. But he also could get hurt by a, linebacker at 240 running at 20 miles an hour. But Donovan could get hurt because he's 28. So I don't know where to go. I don't know which one to pick. So I'm looking at Drew and Ben to break the tie.
I'll jump for Ja. I don't think
Okay.
the weight is as big as an issue as it seems like it should be, and really he could put on more. Like he could put on some muscle. I mean, you need an extra 20 pounds of muscle.
Tyreek Hill is 185. He could gain 10 pounds. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go, Ja.
And I think
like it.
the versatility with that is easier than anybody else.
He's got half the amount of time in the NBA as Donovan, so less wear and tear on his legs.
You're right.
Did I just win one?
You did. Well
Yeah.
done.
Wow.
Yeah.
We
Crushed.
don't keep score. We tried that for a little bit, and we decided that was too much work.
So
Yeah.
you don't keep score.
Drew's got like a whiteboard. He's like, Travis here. Between segments, we were talking about a story where I almost had my wife break up with me before we were married. But that was a little long, so I had to cut it out. But I wanted to give you guys the context of that in order for this transition to work. So now you understand what's going on. But
Yeah.
I tried to throw her off, and that didn't work. Don't do that.
I mean, technically it worked. I mean, it did work. You threw her off. It
Yep.
just was a bad.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't throw them off. If they know, and that's fine.
I didn't know if that story was maybe like going to lead into the next question, so I was preparing myself.
You were. It
You
was
know,
not.
You never know, man. You
Sometimes
never
it
know with
does.
these
I'm actually
transitions.
surprised it didn't. Yeah. Okay.
It does make my top 4 all-time moments of like my Mount Rushmore of moments. So,
Dude, come on, you're better than that. You got it. You got it.
no, I'm not. That's it. That was it. That's how we're transitioning into the next segment, gentlemen. Team, I want to know just straight up Mount Rushmore of running backs. So we're all going to name our 4. So we'll have a pool of about 16-ish. There'll probably be some overlaps, knowing some of these players. And then we're going to whittle that list down to 4, and we're going to come up with our 4. So we'll just go one at a time, listing our 4, and I'll write them down. We'll make the pool, and we'll whittle that down. Does that work for everyone? Cool. Don't
Yeah.
care.
Are
I'll
we
go first.
arguing our 4? Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm going to give you my 4. If you want to just comment and like say that person's dumb, that's fine. He's still going on the list. And then we'll go from there. And we'll whittle it down in the actual argument section. But my 4, real simple. Emmitt Smith, Jim Brown, Marshall Faulk, and like the GOAT of all time, Peyton Hillis. Oh, wait, nope. Walter Payton. That's the other one.
That's the one you're
Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, Marshall Faulk, and Jim Brown. Not the Madden cover art, my hero, Peyton Hillis.
Oh, that was a good one.
I'm gonna be honest. When I wrote out my list, I wrote Peyton Hillis in parentheses 2010.
Nice.
One of the best single seasons at running back. If you just took single seasons, he could be in the Mount Rushmore of single seasons for sure.
That's a good point. Yeah.
But we're talking all-time career. You know, you have to have some sort of accolades other than one season. So, Peyton Hillis, I'm sorry, you did not make the Mount Rushmore of. I'm going to go and take him off the list of running back. So, other Mount Rushmores, let's hear them.
Well, I mean, I'll jump out there. So 3 of the 4, I think we were aligned on, but I'm actually going to twist mine a little bit. So we're only going to align on 2. For me, it's Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton. My 3rd and 4th are going to be Barry Sanders and LT, LaDainian Tomlinson. As much as I want to put Falk on here, he slots in at 5 for me out of these. So those are my 4.
That's fair. Those are players I considered for mine as well. Dylan, who you got?
So for mine, I went a little different direction, I guess, for you guys than you guys did.
Are you calling us old?
Good.
Mount Rush. I didn't say that. I'm saying
You
Mount
did.
Rush for me. So when I look back, I'm like, these are my favorite running backs. These are the best running backs that I loved growing up. Number 4, Ricky Williams.
Okay.
Number 2, Arian Foster. Number 2, Chris Johnson. Number 1, LT.
I can go ahead and tell you Chris Johnson will not make.
Dude, CJ2K, man.
1 year.
He had the greatest 3-year stretch.
It was amazing. Oh, and so I had the year where I had him and Jamal Charles on my fantasy team at the same time. Dude, I crushed.
That's I related a lot of mine to fantasy success and growing up playing Madden. Who was I playing with? Who was just destroying everyone.
Yeah. And Madden will tell you that Chris Johnson was a lot better than he actually was. Drew, who's your 4th?
All right. I had 1 overlap, which was Peyton. And then
Wait, what?
Walter Payton.
Walter Payton. Sorry. You're right.
Peyton Manning, best running back of all time.
4 yards.
Yep. Number 2 for me is going to be Adrian Peterson.
Okay.
Solid pick.
Number 3, Marshawn Lynch. And then number 4, OJ Simpson.
Very nice. Dude, solid. I mean, he was good.
All right. So here's the
Didn't do it.
The full list. Didn't do it. Our pool is Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, Marshall Faulk, Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, LaDainian Tomlinson, Ricky Williams, Arian Foster, Chris Jones, Adrian Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, and OJ Simpson. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. That's not bad. We had 4 overlaps. Not bad. I went with, when I was thinking about this, and like, I wanted to think about this in kind of eras because I wanted to put people who may not have had, you could in theory go who's 1, 2, 3, 4 in rushing yards or touchdowns or MVPs or Super Bowls or something like that. But I wanted to go in like who changed the game. And I have to put Marshall Faulk in there because, first of all, he had that like 4-year stretch where he had like 2,000 all-purpose yards every season for 4 years straight because he was rushing and receiving. And I think all 4 of those years was at least like 1,300 yards. So it's not like he was getting 700 yards rushing and 1,300 yards receiving. It was the other, like he was still probably either the rushing leader or close to the rushing leader those 4 years. And then he had another 700 yards receiving. 1 year he had 1,000 yards receiving. So he had like 2,300 yards total. That's insane. And so just like a person who actually changed the game, I have to go, like, of all of my players, of all my picks, I have to keep Marshall Faulk in there. I will die on that hill. Everyone else, I could take or leave.
I mean, I'm okay with that. He was my 5. All right, I'm gonna cut out one of Dylan's.
Yep.
Dylan, I freaking loved watching Ricky Williams. Whole family besides me are Miami fans. So I watched a lot of Ricky Williams. I don't think he belongs on this. I mean, there's arguments for Chris Johnson LT and maybe even Samarian Foster, but I don't, it's as much as Ricky kind of changed that role for so many people, which is actually a pretty good argument for Ricky Williams.
He's talking himself into it.
I mean, he did. He just completely transformed that. No, I got to take him out. I got to take him off. He's just not quite there
Fair.
as far as some of these other guys.
The main reason I put him on there is because he won me a fantasy championship. I needed him to score like 26 points on a Monday night game in the championship, and he got like 35 or something like that. I'm like, this guy's awesome.
Nice.
Sounds about right. Sounds about right. He did also play for a Canadian team, so by that stat alone, he's got to be out.
Fair.
This is America. I don't know. Okay, Ricky Williams is out. Who else?
Dylan, you got anyone to eliminate?
I mean, I can't. I mean, you guys were listening, and I guess you could argue that I'm going to say the greatest of all time. Like, those are a lot of the GOATs.
Yeah.
And I went more down a personal route, so I'm not going to argue, and I'm not going to argue Walter Payton, like he one of the best ever.
No,
So I don't have.
You could argue AP Lynch and OJ Simpson though.
That's fair. I'm not gonna discuss OJ for obvious reasons. AP
Strictly football.
What reasons are we talking about? I don't understand.
Football.
Yeah, those are good ones too.
He's a fantastic record.
I'd have to pull up stats. I didn't really look at stats on these, honestly. It's hard to debate those because those were on my list too. I didn't put them on just because they're not on my specific Mount Rushmore, but I mean Adrian Peterson, one of the best of all time.
Everyone that was mentioned was like in the discussion. So no one did a bad job of like including I don't know, just a 2 or 3 year wonder kind of thing. So
I can go ahead and I'll let go of Marshawn Lynch. He was a personal pick for me. I know he's kind of a one-hit wonder for that Legion of Boom era, kind of like around the same time as them, and I don't think he potentially makes the GOAT. I just loved watching him.
Fantastic player, like incredible running back. I'll say one of the most pure running backs ever. Like definitely top 10, but he just didn't have it in Buffalo when he played there. Oh, he did. Buffalo wasn't a good team, so his stats don't reflect how good he was. It got traded to Seattle, and then it finally like got a good offensive line and was able to showcase his talent. So I agree, Marshawn's a fantastic running back. Doesn't make the Mount Rushmore.
I think AP played too long.
You think if AP retired before? No, because he had the comeback year after the ACL.
Yep.
Right. That was insane. It was still, but that was still in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I know he played a stint in Arizona. Did he play anywhere else?
But for the Seahawks, the Lions,
Vikings, and the Saints.
didn't he played for the Seahawks for sure? He just tried to play way too long, and then because you can argue like the Bill Belichick argument, greatest coach of all time, but also Mac Jones has kind of tarnished his legacy a little bit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing with AP. Obviously,
is that the teams that he played for? Or is that AP's skill? Like,
I think skill because he was old.
That's fair. He did not have the longevity that some of the other players on this list had. He was great for his 10 years. He had the Barry Sanders, which I'll get to in a second. He had the Barry Sanders 10 years of impressiveness, but then that last I'm assuming it's 10.
I feel like
he dropped off.
I mean, 10 years is
it's incredible. No one on this list is a
good RB, let alone a great RB.
Yeah, but we're comparing great to greatest right now, and we're nitpicking, So I'm not saying AP is a bad running back, right? I'm not sitting here trying to bash on him and say he isn't one of the top 10, top 15, whatever of all time, because he is. Is he the top 4? Probably not. So I agree with that.
But you could make an argument that he was.
You could. I'd say that's probably not a great argument, but you could make that argument. Ben, what do you think? AP top 4?
As much as I want to, because I got to see all those amazing years, no. Top 10. I would argue the top 10, top 15 better, but no, not top 4.
Yeah, easily top 15, potentially top 10. Yeah. Barry Sanders. He was the one I was 4 and 5 with Walter Payton. And it's talked about that Barry Sanders retired too early. Right? He came off his last year, I don't remember what it was, but he had an incredible last year and was like, "Hey, this is doing terrible things to my body. I should stop." And he did. And he left at a high peak. He also didn't win any Super Bowls. So for that reason, I put him at 5. Was he like Marshawn Lynch, one of the most pure, just like running backs ever? Absolutely. But I'm struggling to put him in the top 4 because he didn't win a championship, and he may have, he could have gone on to do more, and maybe even won a championship. I don't know. So that's why I was like, how do I categorize Barry Sanders? Like I would if I was a Lions fan, I would have Barry Sanders jersey. I would stand Barry Sanders, all that stuff. But like, I can't put him in the top 4. I see Dylan nodding.
Okay.
I don't have I wasn't watching football during his era. So it's kind of like the LeBron MJ debate a little bit, to where like I wasn't watching in the NBA. I didn't get to experience his greatness, so it's just hard for me to comment on it.
That's fair. That's reasonable. So I'm going to take Barry Sanders off. That hurts. I'm not saying any of the other people on this list are ahead of Barry, but like that's just the one I can speak to the most because I was having that debate with myself.
All right. Well, if you're going to take Barry, then I'm going to jump and set a flag and guarantee that LT is on this list. Not only did he, amazing runner and amazing pass catcher, definitely one of the guys out there that, was the best at both, of all time, if not maybe the best at both completely. I have to have LT in the top 4.
I agree.
I would.
He had 145 touchdowns.
Yeah, I would also agree.
That's
rushing touchdowns. He had more catching or receiving touchdowns.
But then also, if you're gonna do that debate, the same debate with Barry Sanders, like he didn't win a championship.
Never won a championship, but
I think he's on the top 4 for sure.
I want to come back to that because I think I don't
necessarily think winning the Super Bowl has to detract from it because it's not entirely on him. And to do that well and still not win a Super Bowl, maybe even speaks to his benefit.
If we're talking about elites here, we have to find things that separate the elite from the elite. And a Super Bowl is one of those things that's like that's a thing we can point to and say they have one and they don't.
But again, not entirely on him.
Well, it's a
to
team
play
sport.
That well and still not have one.
I'd like to point out that out of all of our lists, we have 3 people on here that never won a Super Bowl, but they still made 3 different lists. So because you've got Sanders, you've got LT, you've got OJ. None of them ever won a Super Bowl or went to a Super Bowl, or won a Super Bowl. So I don't want to keep concentrating on that because I don't think it's relevant as far as who's the best.
Well, I was going to take out OJ because he doesn't have a Super Bowl, and I was going to take out LT potentially because he didn't have a Super Bowl, and Chris Johnson and Arian Foster. So that's where I was like, maybe that's the deciding factor because that would get us down to 4. But let's put a pin in LT because I don't want to do that. I would be the nay vote in that. But is there anyone on this list that we can all agree on, say like an Emmitt Smith? Can we all say that Emmitt Smith is in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Greatest rusher.
Yeah.
Solely rusher of all time.
Yeah.
And he's got the Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He's got
he's got the yardage record. He's
and the touchdown record.
Yeah, dude's insane.
Yeah. Okay. So Emmitt Smith is in there. That's 1. So for the last 3 positions, we've got Walter Payton, Marshall Faulk, Jim Brown, LT, Arian Foster, Chris Johnson, and OJ Simpson. we have some flags planted in LT and Marshall Falk. So really kind of the ones we haven't talked about are Walter, Jim, Arian, Chris, and OJ.
I would say you could probably go ahead and take OJ out. It was a little bit of a joke, but I do respect the fact that he played the game really well.
He did.
But again, if you're just looking at like straight up record, doesn't have the same accolades as a lot of the people on the list currently. So
Okay, so we're down to 6. So we got to lose 2. Wait, no, we're down to 6. We got to lose 3 because there's only 3 spots left.
Okay, so Travis, you, me, Andrew, I'll put Walter Payton. In my mind, again, I mean, I just made the argument for LT kind of being that 90s, 2000s amazing runner, amazing catcher. I mean, 25 years ago, that or 20 years ago, or 20 years prior to that, it was Walter Payton. Walter Payton was amazing both as a rusher and a pass catcher. Hell, he might have even been, the best of that first kind of both style where he did both. Because before that, it was all ground and pound. So, I mean, it's hard to not put Walter Payton on this list. And
yeah, and just the sheer amount of time he played for one team.
Was he carried by the Bears defense? He had the yards, he had the accolades, he had all of the offensive prowess for sure. But would he been I'm a little drunk. Would he have been considered as successful, or would he have been as successful in general if he didn't have the lethal Bears defense, the 85 Bears that everyone talks about, where he kept getting the ball back and he had extra opportunities to go run for miles on end?
Does that translate over 12 years? And
yeah, that it was
the NFL though?
Maybe not 12, but like that was a dynasty level type of defense. It wasn't a dynasty in terms of the full team, because I think they only won 1 championship during that stretch, but like that defense was good for 6 years. And that's why I had him. That's why I had him at 4. I know that there's no like actual ranking of this. I'm for Walter Payton for sure.
I'd put him up there in that spot. I mean,
okay,
if you're looking straight up, how many yards, how many touchdowns, and he has a Super Bowl under his belt, played 10 plus years. I mean, even just happening to be on one of the best dynasty teams of all time, I still think he did the work to be able to call himself part of that.
Okay.
I was going to throw a sideways.
Do it. Throw a wrench into it. Let's go.
All right. So think about this. And because all I wanted to say since the beginning of this is Frank Gore, because I loved Frank Gore. I watched him.
I had Frank Gore on my list.
He doesn't belong in the top 4, but I love the man.
No.
And
he was definitely on my list.
Almost everybody in the NFL, who's been paying attention for the last several years, knows about how good he was and how long he lasted. So Mount Rushmore was built for the 4 presidents and the events that they represented. For me, I keep going back to like, maybe we need to pick 4 running backs that each represent like something specific, and they were the best at it. So best pass catcher, Frank Gore, oldest. But like picking something like that where I will always remember Frank Gore, not as one of the best players, but the best oldest player ever. So that I was thinking, I had a whole nother list for best pass catcher, all stuff like that. So.
I like the sentiment, and that's kind of where I was going when I was like picking my 4. Was like who moments or eras that stood out, and who is the best during kind of that era and who changed the game. And while Frank Gore, I don't think changed the game, he was the most consistent. I think Jim Brown gets the asterisk for most consistent because I think he averaged 100 yards a game for his entire career. But in terms of longevity and someone just dependable, like I would totally be okay with putting Frank Gore as like the 5th one, like that didn't get finished off to the side. Like, oh, we plan to have 5, but we didn't like have the budget for it. So like, it's just a rock, but you can kind of see the outline of a couple eyes. If we put Frank Gore in that spot, I would be 100% okay with that.
One of the spots is best newcomer coming out of nowhere for one good year. We could throw Peyton Hillis on there.
We could go.
Yeah.
Nice. One and done.
One and done. He got a Madden cover. I mean, that's impressive. So,
did we find out if Taylor Swift is on next year's Madden cover?
She is for sure. No, the refs are. We got to talk Chris Johnson, right?
CJ2K. I would put him kind of almost in that Peyton Hills category. I mean, it was more than 1 year, but was it 3 or 4 years where he was
3 or 4.
It was, yeah. And
I think it was
Tennessee was insane.
I would think it was 3, and then but the cliff, man, that cliff.
Cliff was bad.
It was bad cliff.
Oh, I was so pissed, man.
We'll always
I thought
have those 3 years though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's why I just, I would say if we were doing the Mount Rushmore of 3-year stretches, he would be on there. But for like greatest all-time running backs, I can't put Chris Johnson in there.
I would put him on like greatest running back nicknames only because nobody else can handle that nickname. I mean, CJ2K, man, it was
too
just
easy. Not too easy.
It was so simple that it was
Yeah.
perfect. He would be my Mount Rushmore of nicknames.
Okay, so I'm taking Chris Johnson off. I got enough kind of like half nods for that. So we've got Emmitt Smith, we've got Walter Payton, 2 more spots. We've got Marshall Faulk, Jim Brown, LT, and Arian Foster. So we got to pick out 2.
Arian Foster is the same thing as Chris Johnson, pretty much. I think he had like 3 good years.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with okay.
We can take Aaron out, but I do want to take Jim Brown out.
Tell me why you want to take out one of the best running backs of all time.
No. It's not, no argument there. I mean, I have him on, he's my 6th, like he's on 6th, but amazing running back, too one-dimensional for all the other people that kind of we're talking about. There is, one-dimensional players on here, but they were better than Jim Brown. It's just, dude, I don't know. I'm penny pinching. It's the difference between top 4 and 6.
No, I know, and that's what this podcast is about.
More one-dimensional than the other ones, except maybe
you're right. He is one-dimensional because he played in the 50s where they didn't really throw the ball. So in an era where you knew they were running the ball and you could stack the box, he averaged 100 yards a game. They could just line up, put 7 people in the front because what's a pass? I don't know. I've never seen that before. They still limit him to under 100 yards a game. And it was before the Super Bowl even actually existed, I believe, if I'm mathing that right. So he did not win a Super Bowl because it's the Browns and RIP Browns, but like he still was like, he was the first, he was like the George Washington of running backs. He was the first, like, incredible, just Superman type player at that position. So I would have to have him as that 3rd spot over Marshall Faulk if I had to, because I could see us arguing LT and Marshall Faulk. They had similar skill sets. I think Marshall Faulk did it first. LT may have improved on it, so I could give you that, but I can't sit here and let you take Jim Brown out.
Fair.
Okay, then push Falk. I'll be okay with Brown, LT, Peyton, and Smith.
I'm gonna go with that list.
Yep.
Okay. Yes, I'm okay with this list. This is in no particular order. Our Mount Rushmore of running backs is Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, Jim Brown, and LaDainian Tomlinson. Good job, team. We did it. We got there. Took a minute, but we did it.
Shout out to the best running back in my heart. Work done.
No, he's not. Stop.
He's definitely listening.
He's not. He's not.
Best running back to me ever. Favorite player.
He's not. It's getting a little late. It is time for last call. Gentlemen, it is time for last call. We're going to go in the order of who's on my screen. So we're going to go Drew, Ben, and Dylan. So I'm going to have to write your name with a Y because I abbreviate things. And this is a sports themed Would You Rather, because if our listeners haven't guessed already, this is a sports themed episode. So let's jump into it. Drew, would you rather score the winning goal in a World Cup final or hit a game-winning home run in the 7th game of a World Series?
World Cup final.
Ben?
Definitely the World Cup final.
Dylan?
I was a baseball guy, so I'll say home run.
Drew, would you rather have the ability to dunk a basketball style or throw a perfect spiral touchdown pass?
Touchdown pass.
Ben?
Yeah, give me the spiral.
Dylan?
I'm going to go with spiral too.
Okay. Drew, would you rather be a star player on a mediocre team or a bench warmer on a championship winning team?
Bench warmer.
Ben,
I feel like a lot of angry people are starters on bad teams. Yeah, bench warmer's fine.
Dylan.
Bench warmer.
Yep, best position in football is the backup quarterback. Drew, would you rather have the stamina to run a marathon or the speed to sprint in the Olympic sprint competitions?
Marathon.
Ben.
Give me the sprints.
Sprints. Dylan.
I'm gonna say sprints too.
Like it. Drew, would you rather have a career as a legendary coach or a celebrated sports commentator?
Coach.
Ben.
Personal connection, definitely the commentator.
Dylan.
Commentator for sure.
All right, we're going to get funny here. Drew, would you rather get tackled by Ray Lewis or pancaked by Jason Kelsey?
Pancaked.
Ben.
I just want to be able to say I was tackled by Ray Lewis, so I'll go to Ray Lewis.
That's fair. Dylan.
Same. I want to be able to say I was tackled by Ray Lewis.
Like that answer. Drew, would you rather have to wear flippers while playing tennis or while playing hockey?
Flippers?
Yeah, on your feet.
Tennis.
Okay. Ben.
It's got to be tennis.
Okay. Dylan.
Tennis.
Drew, would you rather be chased by a swarm of bees every time you hit a golf ball or have to hit your head with a bowling pin every time you throw a bowling ball?
Hit my head with a bowling pin.
Ben.
Yeah, I'll just quit bowling. Hit my head with a bowling pin.
Yeah, that's fair. Dylan.
Not gonna quit golf, so
Bowling pin. Okay. Drew, would you rather have to wear a full suit of armor while playing basketball, or would you rather play baseball while riding a unicycle?
Unicycle.
Okay, so baseball, unicycle. Got it. Ben.
Suit of armor.
Armor, basketball. Dylan.
think suit of armor.
Okay, last one. Drew, would you rather have a cheering section of overly enthusiastic squirrels or a mascot that constantly photobombs your sports moments with ridiculous dance moves?
Give me the squirrels.
Squirrels. Okay. Ben,
Mascot.
you don't like squirrels, that's fine. Dylan.
Probably mascot.
Squirrels are fine.
Yeah, squirrels are fine. That's fine.
Squirrels are amazing.
That was a awesome, quick last call. Jim, that was great. Talk about a couple of them. Dylan, you said you were a baseball guy, so you'd rather hit the home run in the the ninth inning of the seventh game of the World Series. Ben and Drew, why did you guys say World Cup?
I don't know. Prestige for the world, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Drew, same kind of answer? Bigger stage?
Bigger stage, and I always feel like that kind of quintessential run and slide on your knees movement, like while you're screaming that you made the goal, it just makes a bigger impact than it does if I just, drop the bat and walk the base.
I definitely understand the bigger stage because the World Cup is the most watch event in sports, but I just feel like hitting a home run, first of all, like in general, already is just one of those when you hit a home run. It's the contact, it's the sound, it's the feeling of it. You're not supposed to watch it, but you watch it a little bit. And if you're in Game 7 of the World Series, and if you hit the game-winning home run, like, I don't know, it's like, it almost feels like quiet to me, and that almost gives me like chills, and so I'd probably go game-winning home run. But that's a hard question because I would also love to hit the winning goal in the World Cup final. So I like that. Drew, you'd rather do a marathon or be a marathon runner than a sprinter. Why is that?
Just overall, I think that skill set would be better used in other parts of life. Just being able to run 23 miles.
You just like stamina. Gotcha. Wink.
Yeah, wink.
You also said you'd rather be a coach over a commentator. Tell me about that.
I feel like I would like the challenge of the coach, and also there's a limited kind of time frame on that being a coach, whereas commentator, I don't know, just seems like it would get boring after a while.
That's fair. Ben and Dylan, why would you guys want to be a commentator?
I just have Jim Nance in my head saying hello friends before the Masters, and it just gets me fired up.
Nice.
So if I had a catchphrase like that, that'd be awesome.
So fire catchphrase. Got it.
Honestly, me, it's personal. I grew up with Gene Deckerhoff. He's known as the Voice. He was the commentator for both the Florida State Seminoles and the Buccaneers. I listened to him for years, game after game. I mean, coach would be amazing too. Bobby Bowden was my coach. Absolutely legendary being a coach. But I don't know, man. I got to meet Gene Deckerhoff, and it was this coolest thing. I'm meeting this guy I've been listening to for 20 years. Commentators, just unique.
So it's personal. I like that.
Yeah.
The last one I can't go without mentioning. Everyone said wearing flippers playing tennis. And I understand that might be the easier of the two from like an individual's perspective, but if I'm taking the whole game into account, I feel like if I'm playing tennis, the person who's serving is basically going to ace every single time because I can't run in it. So it's going to get a little boring. Whereas if everyone was wearing flippers while playing hockey, I know, but this is where my brain went with it, right? There's no right or wrong answers here. It's would you rather. This is where my brain went with it. And in my brain, I was imagining everyone in hockey wearing flippers, and that would be hilarious. And so that's why
it would be hilarious for 5 minutes. And then I'd probably walk out.
But it wouldn't be hilarious for tennis at all. So that's why I was like, in my head, I know why you guys picked tennis, but in my head, the first thing I thought of was like, that'd be really funny if everyone on ice was wearing flippers trying to play hockey.
Broke the ability to even play the game of hockey for me.
Exactly.
Whereas with tennis, you could potentially get around it.
And you would be able to watch people running in flippers, falling in flippers. I mean, that would be entertaining the whole time. The problem with hockey is they're just going to be on the ice. I mean, they're never going to be able to stand. So they're just moving around.
People falling down all the time.
Yeah, you can actually watch the actual tennis match.
I'm just picturing Benny Hill playing in the background while they're trying to stand on ice wearing flippers, and I like that. I would watch that. So, anyway, we're getting kicked out of the bar. Dylan, before we go, tell us one more time about your podcast and your show.
Yeah, Boys Sound Bad Podcast. You can find us on all social media platforms at Boys Sound Bad Pod. You give us a follow. We do a live morning show every day, 6:45 a.m. on TikTok. Check that out.
It's too early.
Yeah, I know. You got to do it before. But yeah, it was fun, guys. Thank you for having me on, and a lot of good discussions. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And for those of you who have made it this far and still listening, if you want to, I guess, subscribe to our show, you can. If you want to, there is a link in the description to support the Bar Banter podcast. You can donate to our bar tab. And just remember, this is our podcast, and you're just along for the ride.